Hey everyone, this episode I'm starting with an audio content warning as well as a textual one. We're covering the quote unquote gender bend episode. So the episode itself is more than a little transphobic. Obviously, there's not going to be any slurs because they're on the episode and we're not going to say any. But if this is something you just don't want to deal with, just put us on hold or skip this episode entirely. You won't miss much.
Uh, it unfortunately has good things, but, the rest.
大怪盗アルセーヌ・ルパンが残した不思議な宝物ルパンコレクションがギャングラーに奪われた。失ったものを取り戻すために戦う怪盗、世界の平和を守るために戦う警察、君はどっちを応援する？
Hello, and welcome to LupinRecap. This is Patreview, the podcast that's stirring up a storm. I am your host, Lukamasi, and with me is my co-host, Fefner Masamune.
Hello, I'm here.
Unfortunately, we both have to be here for this episode.
To be fair, that is my fault. Loka was all ready to skip this one. I was like,
Yeah,
I can do this.
I was willing to just cover this episode in a footnote. Just go, it's bad. But instead we're talking about it. And to limit the amount of time we talk about it, we're not going to do a full-on discussion question, so which is just a statement or perhaps a general plead to write better trans representation for the love of God.
I've seen worse, but man, it would be great to have better.
Yeah, I'll go into it at the end of the episode. This is not the worst portrayal of a trans identity in media, in that it's not... It doesn't have slurs in it, I guess. That's better than some, but it's still really bad, really dumb.
It's more
really
just...
not handled at all.
It's more just, haha, gender swap. Isn't it funny how this is out of the norm?
Sort of thing that could be solved by having at least one trans writer, but oh well, I guess.
Alright, so since that's all we're going to be saying on that, episode 11. So, the name of the episode for the translation we watched is The Filming Must Go On. However, I prefer the other version of the title, I Will Continue Shooting, because that is hilarious, but also it's a good pun.
That translation rules because every time I see it, I just go, what the fuck? What? Oh, that was the filming episode, not that kind of shooting. Okay.
It could describe some characters at some points. Though, to be fair, if it wanted to cover the entire show, it would be, I Will Continue Flipping. So, we hard open on the Global Special Police Organization logo, GSPO for short, and cut to our favorite officers walking dramatically towards the camera as a narrator introduces the Kaisatsu Sentai Pat Rangers. They pause. A bunch of guys dressed mostly in black confront them, and they all begin to fight. Kaichiro and Tsukasa impressively fight back against the lot. Sakia, however, messes up. He falls to the ground, and one of the men in black follows suit. We hear somebody shout, "Cut!" and as we reveal that the cops are, indeed, filming a movie. Kaichiro and Tsukasa discuss how, despite the fact they don't want to be filming this, they have to. They flash back to director Hilltop and Jim, who want to counter the Phantom Thieves publicity by making a Pat Rangers movie. To make matters worse for our heroes, the director specifically asked for the real deal to work on the set. Neither Tsukasa nor Kaichiro seemed interested, nor do they think the other can act, but Sakura had no hesitation in volunteering.
Can we just take a moment to imagine the better version of this episode where instead they just have 3 asshole actors follow them around for several days?
Oh my god, that would have ruled.
And try to learn and nearly get shot by the Lupin Rangers a lot. Or the Gangwalks.
Oh man, I like that idea more. That's already better.
I've seen that idea somewhere before, but I can't remember where.
It's probably come up in a few different things, but yeah, I can't recall anything immediately either. So, back at the present, Sakura tries to cheer everyone else up, which also involves mentioning that they'll get the ladies if they get popular. Because it's Sakuya. Meanwhile, at Jure, the thieves are discussing their next target, which just so happens to be at the movie set the Pat Rangers are filming at. Umika is excited because they might meet some celebrities. We then cut back to one of the movie scenes, which doesn't seem to understand the Pat Rangers at all. Kaitro is dramatically announcing his intention to storm a Ganglar base alone, while Saki and Tsukasa beg him not to because it's too dangerous. I love Kaitro just looking out the blinds.
Yeah, they try and shoot it like a legitimate melodrama police drama thing. Also, I like how you say, the director clearly doesn't understand the Pat Rangers while describing Kaitro as dramatically announcing something. Like, I mean, come on. He's got it a little.
He has that, but like, Kaitro in the first place wouldn't say, hey, I'm going to storm this place alone, because he has confidence in his peers. But also, if Kaitro did try to pull that, Tsukasa would kick his ass.
You're right, there would be no pleading. Also, he wouldn't be as quietly dramatic as he's trying to be in this scene.
Yes.
He screamed at the top of his lungs as he was running out the door.
Yeah, that would be more accurate.
Can we just write a better episode during this podcast?
That'll be episode 11.5. We write a better episode.
Oh god, no.
So, we get another cut from the director, again on something Saki is doing. This time the director complains that Saki lacks sex appeal, which signals that he's pretty straight, because come on, Saki's actor is pretty attractive. Oh, right, and then Saki starts glowing. So, that's the point where the viewer probably knows exactly where this episode is going. Sakia gets boobs and long hair, checks the groin, nothing, cut to intro.
The
Phantom Thieves arrive at the filming set only to see that the global police are there too. Unaware of their actual reasons for being on the set, they assume that the Ganglar may have revealed themselves already. Back with the Pat Rangers, Kaitro and Tsukasa suspect the work of a Ganglar because magic very clearly happened right there. The director, however, wants to continue filming. He is undissuaded by the clear presence of a Ganglar, and so is Sakia, who's making the best of the situation. I think we're supposed to find the scene hilarious or something. As the crew prepares to film again, the Phantom Thieves wander about in the back. And then Kairi can't help but laugh, giving them away. Worse off, it's a film set, so the crew has lights to shine on them. The cops rush into the frame, notice the Phantom Thieves, and immediately open fire. Taking cover, they Kaito change. After the two groups rush outside, the cops Kaisatsu change, though not before forcing the film crew back into the building for their own safety. You idiots. They transform, and a boob joke happens, giving the Lupin Rangers enough time to nonchalantly start shooting. The Pat Rangers then make the reverse assumption that the Lupin Rangers did, and once they say Ganglar, in comes a Ganglar. Today's Ganglar then reveals himself. It is none other than Pitchcock. Though, the Gangler with such a great name that I'm not even going to try to think of a different pun for him. He then TFs Ichigo and Sangu. Hilarity ensues or whatever. Before any of the Rangers can approach Pitchcock, he activates his safe power. Everybody slips. Pitchcock is amused and makes his escape after taunting everyone.
It pisses me off how much I like the Ganglar in this episode.
God, he's like one of the best ones in a bit.
We'll save it for the end, but God.
Before Sakia can pursue him, the movie crew bursts through the door. The director is excited by this turn of events, and while the Pat Rangers deal with him, the Lupin Rangers escape the scene. Back in Hell, Destra and Gauche tell Degranio of Pitchcock's plan to make his own movie to show off the might of the Ganglars. As per usual, Destra thinks the idea is silly, but Degranio's into it. God, this is such a good plan. Just coincidentally, while the Pat Rangers are going for the PR move of making a movie, the Ganglars are doing the same thing. It's great. Why are there so many good ideas in this episode? Why couldn't it all suck?
I really like how weirdly self-absorbed Degranio is. Because despite being like very, chill and laid back and basically a fun boss to have if he weren't so evil, the fact that he's so enamored with himself kind of rules.
Yeah, like he's subtly vain. It's not just out and out. Like he's not...
It's so subtle that I feel like not everyone picks up on it.
Yeah,
like everyone knew that Grania was going to be upset when the statue was destroyed, but we see some stuff in this episode that's like, oh, I don't think they realize just how much he's in love with himself.
Yeah, it's because he doesn't do it himself. He has others, boost his ego for him.
You know who he's reminding me of? Because I just saw this movie again recently. Mary Poppins.
Ah.
How incredibly vain she is, but because she very rarely... I don't say very rarely, but because it's normally like Bert and people like him flattering her, it doesn't come off as being too obnoxious or terrible.
Yeah. That's the
Also, I just wanted to compare Negranio to Mary Poppins. Anyways, back to the summary of this hell episode.
We then return to the set, where Saki is excited to continue filming despite the whole gender swap thing, and his partners aren't really feeling it at all. Saki then reveals the reason he's so fixated on the movie. He wants to show everyone how cool his friends are. When he was a trainee, Saki was basically at the bottom of the class, while Kaichiro and Tsukasa were far above him. Yet at Saki's lowest point, when he believed he'd never be able to do anything, Kaichiro and Tsukasa were there to cheer him on. God, I know this is another break, but this is such a sweet scene. Again,
this is a really, really good motivational scene for Sakia.
It's like Dragon Ball. You can have a perfectly good episode, and then Roshi comes in, and suddenly everything sucks.
Fuck. I really wanted to point out Keiichiro's line of, like, those tears prove that you haven't given up yet.
I know.
Because I really like him using tears not as it is where I grew up, at least, as a signifier of giving up and like just retreating and stop trying, is more of like, this is proof that you still care. Because if you didn't care, you would have just walked away.
That is such a
but
good
instead,
line.
you're so upset by the fact that you can't do it that you're crying, which means you should keep trying.
And also, I love that Kaiichiro yet again says, "I said that?" Like every time. Just, hey, Kaiichiro, you were such an inspiration to me because you said this. And he's like, oh, that's nice. And, did I say that?
In fact, there are some people who think that Sakia is lying in this scene because Keiichiro doesn't remember it. But yeah, he didn't remember what he said to Tsukasa either, so he's just super inspirational and forgets all the time.
Yep, that's just a thing. That's just Kaiichiro's thing, and I love him for it. So the director walks in and tells the group that he's changed the script, a thing that's very easy to do in the middle of filming and won't annoy everybody working with you. As he leaves, Kaiichiro and Tsukasa discuss how suspicious the director is. We then cut to the next filming session, where we have a callback to the start of the episode. Except as the Pat Rangers walk towards the camera, they're wearing outfits that 2/3 of the team clearly isn't into. They're actually nice outfits. Neither of Kaiichiro or Saki are in appropriate wear for the job, and I'm sure Tsukasa's suit would scuff up way too much in a fight, but they don't look bad. That being said, the joke is probably supposed to be, haha, Kaiichiro in a dress, and not the director has given them outfits not at all suited for punching ganglars, so I'll just leave this scene off by groaning at it. Here I go. A fight scene happens, but surprise! One of the bad guy actors has an actual weapon. Because he's not an actor, he's a Potaman. And I can only assume that the Potamen cannot act to save their lives, since they can't do most things to save their lives. What
do you mean the line isn't chaka chaka?
How do you say chaka chaka in a way that implies that you'll be in your trailer?
Chaka!
And then explode.
Goes in the trailer and the Lupin shoot it. No, he opens the door to the trailer and Lupin Red jumps out and kicks him.
Another better idea for the episode. God.
We need the Lupins being in increasingly improbable situations in their arrival. Like, it's been referenced enough, but I'll add one more to the pile. The Watchman opening up the fridge and Rorschach jumps out. Like that, but with the Lupin Rangers.
There's an Umika-shaped prop on stage, but then Umika springs out from behind the non-Umika-shaped one.
That was a really ugly laugh, but anyways, let's...
So most of the staff then throw off their own disguises, barring the director and the cameraman. The cop's kaisatsu change, and the director looks excited. A boob joke happens partway through the fight. While the director is hyped, most of the Rangers train their guns on him, including the Lupin Rangers, who wander back into the episode. However, Sakia notices something else. He points his finger to the cameraman. Not one to miss a dramatic reveal, Pitchcock transforms in front of them. As usual, rather than ganging up on the Ganglar, most of the Rangers fight one another. Both Reds kind of focus on Pitchcock, but then they try to shoot each other as well. Like at one point, Ichigo is just running along and carrying Pitchcock as a shield from Red's aggressive firing. I like that one.
Even in the bad episode, fight choreography is mostly on point.
Also, Umika fucking tosses Sakia again.
My favorite running joke of the show is just Umika taking out her frustration on Sakia in the fights.
So Pitchcock then uses safe power and everybody slips. Although he's amused, the Lupin Rangers realize an easy way to defeat him. They have grappling hooks. They don't need to be on the ground. They all begin firing, and eventually, Blue grapples onto him, giving Red time to open the safe. 1-0-8! Red grabs the rollover Beethoven piece, and the Lupin Rangers dodge out of the way of Pitchcock's beam attack, which hits the Pat Rangers instead. Status quo resumed. They don't need to pad Ichigu's suit now. Ichigo and Sangu jump in to attack while Nigu uses his megaphone to shout cut. Pitchcock complies, because what else is a man of theater like him supposed to do? But it does allow Ichigo and Sangu to shoot him, then they use the biker repulsion cannon to finish him off. But down in hell, Degranio orders Gauche to give Pitchcock another chance. Destra notes that Degranio is really looking forward to seeing the movie. The disappointment is palpable. Gauche works her usual magic before peacing out. And I would like to bring attention to that because, God, I didn't notice it the first time through, but, like, she kind of just walks in, does her thing, and even before he's big, she's just back over to the portal, and she just gives that, like, wave, and she's gone.
Even Ghost doesn't want to be in this episode.
Good Striker wanders in, but before he can choose a team to side with, Red grabs him, and the group forms the Lupin Kaiser, this time with a lyrical theme. Since Big Pitch has a sword, Red decides to activate the Lupin Kaiser Knight form. Pitchcock isn't terrible with a sword, but launching the Scissors vehicle catches him off guard. In response, Big Pitch decides to try his TF beam again, but once it hits the Scissors vehicle, it transforms into a hammer, revealing that the two genders are actually hammer and sword. The Lupin Rangers are confused, but they work with the situation. As it turns out, the hammer is really strong. They use the Good Striker Spinning Barrage Hits attack, and Big Pitch is launched skyward before exploding. Back on the ground, the cops find themselves back to normal, other than the fact that they're still wearing the outfits from earlier. The director and Sakia are excited to get back to filming. Kaiichiro and Tsukasa very much are not. Back at the police HQ, everybody is watching the complete movie. Jim and Hilltop seem underwhelmed, and Tsukasa is embarrassed. Kaiichiro and Sakia are really into it, though. And as the episode comes to a close, we're left with only one lesson. People should cross-dress more. Come on. You're supposed to find the whole thing ridiculous, but, like, the actors pulled off those outfits at the end.
It doesn't work because all the actors in the show are incredibly hot.
Yep.
And they have such confidence.
I can't tell if it's more or less insulting, because, like, usually what I'm used to with this sort of thing is, like, they overemphasize, like, the opposite details. So, like, if you're trying to make fun of trans people, you either have the trans woman drawn masculine or the trans man drawn feminine. It's pretty insulting, but also, should I be more insulted by, like, here is just what this is, and am I supposed to laugh at that just existing?
I don't know. You're onto something in that. It's one thing to really go after a group. It's another thing to just treat their existence as a joke in and of itself. Alright, so Now we're into the post-episode discussion. So let's start with how frustrating it is that everything besides the premise in this episode is more or less pretty good.
Yep, that is very frustrating.
And I say premise, but like, I feel like a gender swap episode could have been done well if it was handled with more care and respect.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean by premise. I mean it being written in this way.
Yeah, like, I can't recall any gender swap episodes that are, like, good. But also, it's possible to do. I can't recall any writers who have done that well at all, that haven't been, like...
Mm-hmm. And let's just use this episode as an example. In this episode, we have two people who aren't happy with the gender swap, and one that doesn't seem to be bothered by it at all.
Mm-hmm.
If they had done that in a way that was not intended to mock Sakia, I probably wouldn't be too bothered by it. I might still be bothered by it, depending. But
like...
the idea that, like, this would bother some people, but it wouldn't bother everyone, and the not bothering everyone not being a joke feels like it could work.
Yeah, but, like, it's constantly done as a joke. Sakia being into it is treated as a joke throughout the entire thing. They're constantly weirded out by it, and yeah.
It's terrible.
And I don't mind that Kaitro and Tsukasa aren't into it, because, like, that's fine. Because, you know, it's really bad when you're a gender, or when your gender identity doesn't match what you were born with. Kind of fucking sucks, huh?
Yeah.
And hey,
it sucks to be their own gender, doesn't it?
Yeah, if that magically happened to someone who wasn't comfortable with that sort of thing, then yeah, that would be awful.
I also want to talk about, like, Sakia has a lot of really good moments in this episode. They figure out who the Ganglar is. They figure out how to stop them dead in their tracks. They have a really good showing this episode.
Yep.
And it's just... it feels really unfair that Sakia keeps getting held back by bullshit.
Yep.
Because first it was the girl crazy thing, and now it's this.
Yep.
I mentioned... when we watched this, I had recently rediscovered something that had been around the internet for a while, and then I just missed it for whatever reason. Depending on when this came out, I may have been off Twitter at the time. But there was an article that broke a while ago about treating Samus as being trans. And the article goes through, like, the term they use is I don't feel super comfortable saying this. The term they use is a slur in most contexts, but has been used by actual trans people. Looking at the article right now, actress and songwriter Rumiko Masabara used this term to describe herself, and she is trans. It's not obviously a joke, and it could have been meant as, yes, this means Samus is trans. But the thing the article is trying to stress is that it doesn't matter if it's a joke. One of the people that's super important in the Metroid series said Samus is trans. Now she's trans. You can't take it back. She's ours now.
Fuck you.
And that's my attitude towards this. Sakia is gender fluid. I'm not interpreting anything. They wrote that. They made Sakia gender fluid.
Yep.
Fefner, you saw the episode.
Yep. Sure did. Sakia is fine with it.
Yeah.
And it's nothing they're going to commit to, but whatever.
Fuck.
The best revenge is spite by just saying that thing that you meant as a joke was actually true.
Also, Makinoshi Ippo's gay. Takemura said it. So now Ippo's gay. He's ours now. Fuck you. That was the thing that kept me going while we watched this episode.
Yeah.
For me, for the second time, is that Sakia is gender fluid, and nothing in the world can change that. It's too late. Unless you just stop airing this episode and pretend it never existed, which, hey. It'd be for really shitty reasons, but you know?
I mean, hey, hit us up to make the better episode. We just had a few ideas.
We'll write a much better filming-centric episode. And hey, we can even just do a minor rewrite and just make the gender bend stuff better.
We have basically no experience.
Yeah, I say we, I mainly mean you, Fefner. Like, I can get closer to them, but, like, that's not hard. They really need someone who's actually trans to tell them what the fuck to do. Fuck.
But yeah, the other thing I didn't like about the episode is, man, there were some bad jokes in this one. Like, seriously.
Yeah, not
So
even
many.
necessarily in a hateful way, just it falls flat.
Yeah, like, just so many haha boobs jokes. Like, the rest of the show doesn't make those, or at least they haven't so far, so...
Yeah, like the closest there's been to a boobs joke is Gauche's bone boobs.
And that's just a design thing.
Yeah, that's not a laugh out loud funny. That's just you look at it, and if you notice it, it makes you, unless you pretend you're smart for noticing. Ah, yes, they're trying to mock the way that female villains female villains are sexualized.
Yeah, so
want to talk about the
I
Angkor?
guess to pick up the mood a bit, we'll talk about Pitchcock. God,
Pitchcock
Pitchcock's so
rules.
good.
I love his name. I love that his safe bending power is the most JoJo bullshit.
Yep.
I cause you to slip. I remove friction.
Almost useless power that is useful because, well, who's prepared for it? But then it is defeated by grappling hooks.
Yeah.
I also...
By any preparation could defeat this person.
Also, I love his suit actor and just, like, the way he moves about. It is just so overdramatic.
He's very formal and, like, fencer-like.
Yes, this man is hamming it up just so much.
Shame he's in this episode.
Yep.
And we talked about it during the scene, but I'm just going to mention it again. Saki's backstory rules. And I'm glad that he wants to pay the other pot rangers back, but in a way that's, like, uniquely Sakia.
Yeah.
And that's like, I want everyone to know you're great the way that I know you're great.
Yeah, he's not at all bitter about them, being better than he was in school.
There's probably more to say, but I'm too mad. This is our
So,
shortest episode by far. And by design.
Technically speaking, though, while we did praise Pitchcock, it is his natural power that caused the episode to happen, so actually, Pitchcock is garbage.
Just to really emphasize how fucking shit this episode is, we will end on a slightly boring trivia fact. The whole thing about Pitchcock changing the blade into a hammer is the fact that swords and hammers in French use different gendered pronouns. And I forget which one is male and which one is female, but one is one and one is the other. But yeah, that's the joke.
Grammatically incorrect because it would go from lay to la, I think.
That would be
God,
great.
It's been years since I've taken French. I hope
I
those
never-
are correct.
I never took French. I just took Spanish. But yeah, that would be great if you just changed the letter it ends in. Oh, that's what happened to map in Spanish. Because map is mapa, but it's L mapa instead of la. That's what happened. Pitchcock got to a map and changed the Spanish language forever.
You fiend!
Already better jokes. He has the ability to change gender, but he uses it to ruin gendered languages. Fuck.
I don't know what people, or like how finicky people can be about language in languages that aren't English, but if they are out there, then they would be driven mad by Pitchcock.
Mm-hmm. But then we'd have to make Pitchcock the hero. Because he would be taking down arbitrary systems set in place to
Take that,
oppress the
penance.
marginalized. Well, I'm going to call this episode here. I don't know if I'm going to edit this at all, honestly. This episode doesn't deserve a good episode of our podcast.
I apologize for repeatedly stumbling over my words.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'll edit those out. That's not what I meant. If you would like to follow us on Twitter, we are at LRVSPR. I recently put up a stupid meme video to celebrate getting to 10 episodes.
It's good.
At this point, mostly outdated memes I still think are funny. It's 3 jokes over and over again. I'm sorry. I like it. But you also get updates, and I'll try to tweet more Sentai-specific jokes. If you want to follow Twitter, I'm not editing that one. Fuck me. That's staying in there, because God. If you want to follow Twitter on Fafner, she's at Twitter Masamune. She's at Fafner Masamune.
/bandcamp.
She's recently started doing text edits of Fire Emblem Gaiden screenshots, which you should follow her for if you know anything about Fire Emblem Gaiden, because she's really funny.
I know these characters well, except Greeth, who I know, but like I really enjoy him characterized as like a caring boss who wants Dean and Sonia to be friends.
There's always one character like that where we could work off of what little characterization they have and make them a more fleshed out character, or we could just throw that out and write something completely new because it'd be more fun. That's what Dragon Ball fans did with Chi-Chi.
Yep.
That's why I have to remind myself the version of Chi-Chi that I like is not the version that exists in canon. That's all for this episode. Next episode will be better, both the Lupin episode and hopefully our episode. But until then,
adieu.